Well, if it's not our fault, then whose fault is it? Basically, to keep everyone up to part of what I'm going to be talking about today, it's the discussion we've been talking about, through the different platforms over the last week or so. When we were talking about the issue of finding a way to better the situation or correct the situation of our youth, put them in a situation where, you know, they can thrive. Are we doing our job as that next generation that's going to help them to move forward? We were talking about this conversation. It got down to a poll that you all know that I put out, asking if you had tried to discuss with some of the younger generation, where do you find it, or what are some of the reasons that you find that it's hardest or been hardest to actually connect and communicate with them in a way that's going to be beneficial to them? And a lot of you had a lot of different types of answers. And it came down to, Abdul-Lateef, what do you think? So I'm going to let you all know what I think. And the majority of you have been following what we've been doing long enough to know my position. My general position is this. I believe that as adults, as the older generation, or I'll say my generation because many of you are probably younger than I am, even though you're not from that generation we're talking about. In my generation, I can honestly say we dropped the ball. Now, obviously, not everyone. Obviously, we can't say everyone because, that's a big, mistake. But as a generation, I will say, I feel comfortable saying that we dropped the ball. And I think it was because many times we came from that generation where people feel as though, okay, we're waking up. We're woke. We're not going to fall into what they can't fall into, meaning our parents. So what we did was we ran from one thing that we saw to be extreme, and now we see now that it wasn't extreme. It was actually necessary. But we ran from something, because it wasn't something, honestly, that just our parents were upon. Their parents were upon it, and their parents were upon it, and their parents, as far back as we could probably imagine. But when we came, we felt as though we could figure out a better way to go about doing it or getting it done. So, my point here is this. We decided that we didn't want to give our children that harsh, or what we consider to be harsh, upbringing. That we wanted to be more buddies with our children and things along these sorts. And a lot of it may have had something to do with, as I discussed before, the situation of people started having children at a younger age when they weren't ready. So we raised our kids the way that we wanted to be raised, instead of raising them the way that they needed to be raised, ways that we saw that children should be raised. This is one reason. But I think the bigger reason is because we saw what our parents did and we said, listen, we don't want to do that to our children. We didn't consider the fact that the reason we are the way we are is because of the way that we were brought up, the majority of us. We saw that our parents did things a certain way. And we said that, look, we want to have a different type of relationship with our children. And when we did this, we ran from what we thought was an extreme to another extreme that was even more harmful. And as I said a minute ago, now we realize what they did wasn't an extreme, because it's what produced us. The ability to think and stand on our own and do what we feel as though to be correct, and this, that, and other, even though we might not have known what was correct. They produced individuals that got up and did what they were supposed to do or thought they were supposed to do, and they were those people that did what they believed was correct, even though we may have missed the ball in that. But my point, because I don't want to get too off topic, because I have a lot to say about all of this. I think that the reason why, we're in the situation we're in with our children is because, again, we decided we wanted to befriend them instead of parenting them. What do I mean by that? For those of you who have listened to some of the other videos that I've done on this whole issue, we have a job to do as parents that affords us the ability to be friends. Keep in mind of what I'm about to say. We have a job to do, which is to be a parent, that affords us the possibility of being a friend. But we have to make sure that our job is done. You have too many of these people nowadays that, and us is what I mean, and their generation right under us. I'm in my 50s. That generation and those right under, we raised our children as our buddies. As a matter of fact, we brought them up as our buddies. We didn't raise them. We listened to the same music they listened to. We danced the same dance. You look at today, you see people older than me doing dances that just came out yesterday. This is ridiculous. You know, we go to the same places. We're up with all of the popular trends. If you look back when we were younger, there was a huge generational gap between our parents and us, and their parents and them. With our generation, it just kind of just all meshed into one thing. And the fact that there was that big gap caused us, regardless of how we felt about our parents, to have that a certain amount of respect for our parents. To take what they had to say, to learn from what it is that they told us. Whereas with us, or the majority of us, you're going to find that we did what? We're raising our children and we're putting them in a situation where they look at us like we're one of them. So when we tell them to do it this way and understand that I know what you don't know, they're not looking at us like we know what they don't know. They're looking at us like, listen, you're giving me advice and it means to me about as much as this one giving me advice or that one giving me advice. It used to be a time where I know me personally, I had my mother and father, they had friends. And their friends, a lot of times, were like my aunts and uncles. I can think of quite a few times, not just my blood uncles, but I can remember a couple of times where one or two of my dad's friends sat me down and was like, listen, boy, you messing up. I can think of 2 times right now. And the fact that it was them, had it come from someone else that wasn't on that level, I honestly would have been like, yo, man, mind your business, man. I'm not trying to hear that. But because it was, I respected them enough to actually sit down and listen, and it actually helped me out. I can't think of a time, even up until now, I'm 51, when my dad sits me down and talks to me, I really pay attention. But I don't look at him like he's my friend from down the street. If I did look at him like that, I probably wouldn't give them enough respect to be able to sit down and really take in what he says. I'm going to compare what he thinks to what I think. And if I don't agree, then he's wrong. But because we had that type of relationship where he was worrying about parenting me and not befriending me, now my dad is one of my really good friends and he's always been. But he took care of his job. We're not doing that. So to get back to the conversation we were having, I just gave you a little bit of a backdrop. But to get back to the conversation we were having was this. How in the world can we not have that relationship with the youth where they see us as different than them and expect that they're going to just take our advice? When we say something to them, it's going to mean something because we're older than them. But we act just like them. We live in an age where for the longest time we've been saying things like, age ain't nothing but a number. Now when people apply that to us, because this is how we raise our kids believing, they're not respecting age. They're not seeing from us wisdom. They're not seeing from us experiences because they're seeing and hearing the same things from us that they're hearing from one of their peers, as though we were one of their peers. So this is why I say a lot of the problems that our youth have fallen into, it's our fault. Because we dropped the ball, not today, not last month, not last year. We dropped the ball when they were little. And we've been dropping the ball ever since. There are many of you that know me personally. Personally. And a lot of you don't. But there are many of you that do. And you all know, because I've been saying this for years, I would prefer. Now, who in the world... Now, I know you're going to find some people that are kind of twisted. And I can't wait to hear or see the comments in the comment section. But there are going to be some people who are going to twist what I'm about to say. And listen, I could be wrong. So, if you feel other than this, explain it. Or you feel as though you disagree with me, explain. Listen, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'll admit I'm wrong. But I would prefer if my kids grew up and they didn't like me, but they turned out good because of me. Do you understand? I'm not saying I want my kids not to like me. Who would want that? But I would prefer them to not to like me and turn out good than to love, I'm their best friend and this, that, and the other, and I let them run into a bunch of potholes and didn't warn them that they were coming. That I didn't try and push them. I didn't tell them, listen, you're messing up. That I was only spitting things in their ears because I knew they wanted to hear them. To me, that's not being a parent. Our kids have two parents in this world. Our kids have two parents in this world. They have their mother and their father. Everyone else outside of people on that level are friends. They're going to have a million friends throughout the course of their lives that are going to come and go, but they're only going to have two parents. We have a job as parents to do. We have a job even as uncles and aunts to do. We need to make sure that we put ourselves in a situation where they see us a certain way, show us a certain amount of respect, and they listen to what it is we have to say because they look to us as though we probably know what they don't. And we can go through tons of examples. You look at a lot of you that have different jobs, those jobs where you have bosses that come out like they the boss. They come out, everybody sits up, get to work. I don't care if you weren't working. Listen, you're working now. Typing away like a keyboard warrior. You make sure you become productive and you listen to what the direction and you follow the directions. As opposed to having a supervisor that is just lax. One of the guys or one of the girls, as you all say, and all of the rest of that. When they come around, nothing changes. That respect level isn't there. Whether the friendship level is or isn't. So they get a certain amount of, or they don't get a certain amount of, let me listen and see what it is that I'm supposed to be doing so that I can be productive. They get more of an attitude of, okay, when it gets done, it gets done. This is natural. It's normal. You do it. Everyone else does it. We can't expect that these youth aren't going to do it as well. So if we want to gain back our role, then what we need to do is we need to be of those individuals that these youth, they can look up to. That when it comes time for them to need some advice, that they'll come to us. They're not going to go to YouTube and they're not going to go to TikTok. They're not going to go to the guy at their job. They're going to come to those individuals that they look at like, listen, not only are they older, but they're wiser and they have experience, and I see that things are working out for them. I don't see them as an old person that acts just like me. All right? So this is why I say, and I agree when you say that, we've dropped the ball. But I believe we dropped the ball a long time ago. And now it's our job, it's our responsibility, it's our duty to pick the ball back up and do our best to start working with it again. We got to start dribbling. We have to start letting them see, listen, there's a difference here. Not that I'm better than you. But we have to allow them to see that, listen, we make the right decisions. That when I tell you, listen, this music and all of the rest of this stuff is destructive, I'm not listening to it myself. How am I going to tell them, oh man, you got these girls out here doing this and they twerking and this, that, and the other, and yet you know that I listen to this type of music. Now, when I tell you, listen, this is going to destroy you, and yet I'm doing it myself, are you going to respect what it is that I have to say? They're doing the same thing. We're telling our youth, listen, don't be out here committing zina, this, that, and other, blah, blah, blah. But all they hear us talking about when they come around is, yo, shorty was bad, or yo, dude was this. And yet we're expecting them, because we're older than them, to respect what we have to say. And when we show them this side of us, they're actually losing respect for us. All right? So we got to do better. Because we can't continue doing what we're doing and think that we're going to have the influence on that next generation that's going to bring them around. They need to be able to see us as those individuals. Listen, they probably know what we're supposed to be doing so that we can be successful. The same way if we brought some millionaire in here, a billionaire that got it from the mud. When they come in and they start telling us how to get it, because we see that they were successful doing what they're doing, we're going to sit there. We're not just going to listen. We're going to take notes. We're going to pull out the pen and the pad. Can you repeat that? Why? Because we see the success in these individuals. But if someone that's got probably the same amount of money as you do, if not less, just because they're older than you, and they come in and tell you how to be a millionaire, you're not even going to pay attention. You can be like, listen, man, please. So if we understand that this is the way that we think, then we have to understand that this is the way that they think. And if we want to be influential to them, we have to change things within ourselves. We have to change the way that they see us. And the way in which we're going to be able to do that is by changing ourselves. If we don't, we're going to continue dropping the ball. And not only are we going to be hurting ourselves because we're not being who we're supposed to be, we're going to be hurting them because we're leaving them to not having someone or somewhere to go back and get their reliable information from, rather than trusting the internet. But we're also going to be harming those generations that come after them, because now at least this generation that's here now understands that they need to look elsewhere. But after a generation or two, they're going to be looking around like, yo, everybody's the same. What do I need anybody for? I don't know if that's making a lot of sense. If it's not, let me know in the comment section. But we can't allow this to continue, because as it goes generation for generation, for those of you who aren't comprehending what I'm saying, it's just going to get worse and worse and worse if we let the problem go. We have to find a way to fix it now, because as you see, they're not listening to us. And it's not that they're just horrible and rebellious, but it's because we haven't gained the respect to the point where, listen, they realize that they should listen to us. Now, yes, you do have some of them that are just rebellious. They want to do what they want to do. And listen, some ships you just have to let sink. But the overwhelming majority of them, they want to do better. The overwhelming majority of them, they want to do better. They just need somewhere where they can go to get, how can they do better? And their real resource needs to be us. The same way we had our mothers and fathers and aunts and uncles, we need to give them that. And if we're not, we're failing. And that's all I have to say about this particular topic, inshallah. I just wanted to take a chance to respond to all of you all at one time, because a lot of you had a lot to say, and I agree with the majority of all of you. But it was just easier for me to do this all at one time in one place, as opposed to everybody individually. So y'all let me know what y'all think about this. I'll put this up in the areas where we were having these discussions. And inshallah, y'all let me know what y'all think. And inshallah, we can continue the discussion. طيب, جزاكم الله خير وبارك الله فيكم. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And again, I'm Abu Abdullah, Abdul-Lateef from Abdul-Lateef.com. Don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to share it amongst other individuals you know need to hear this, because we have to work together to make a change. We have to. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all. Inshallah, see y'all soon. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.